All right, so it's time to do the 50-yard iron sight challenge again with another one of my vintage Stevens rifles. And what I brought you today is my Stevens Model 56 Buckhorn Rifle. The Model 56 itself was produced between 1935 and 1948, and around 100,000 of them were believed to have been produced in what there is for literature about these things out there. This one is strictly a Stevens. It has no other markings on it, so it's not like a Springfield Stevens or whatever. It's a Stevens, and it is in absolutely gorgeous condition. And it is, you may look at this and think, man, it's been refinished or something. Nope, that is the original gloss still on the stock on this. The black paint on the fore end of the Buckhorn series rifles is worn really beautifully. The rubber butt pad doesn't have any cracks or nicks out of it. The bore is bright, shiny, and sharp. The front sight post on this is one of the better front sight posts. It has that nice defined dot, and the rear is just, you know, your standard Buckhorn split rear sight. So and this is in 100% original condition. It's all the original hardware still on it. Probably the only thing that makes us not like just up there would be that there is a little bit of rust and some of the chrome has come off of the bolt on it, and it has a really weak extractor. But anyway, again, that's what the rifle is. Oh, and the Buckhorn series, hopefully you can see that, but on the bottom of the barrel there, and if it doesn't turn out, I'll give a close-up of it after this. I'll tie something in, but it says Stevens Buckhorn on the bottom of it. And a little history lesson, I'm going to bore you, but the Buckhorn series was because there was a guy in the 20s, 30s, and 40s who was an avid outdoorsman named Frank Buck. And think of it, if you're of my, you know, if you're a boomer, early Gen Xer, and you grew up watching Mutual of Omaha and Marlon Perkins and Jim Fowler out, you know, in the bush all over the world, that's what this guy was doing, but he started doing it in the teens, 20s, and 30s. And he would collect up animal specimens, bring them back to the U.S. He did movies that were, you know, jungle, Amazon-based, you know, black and white movies. He was an author, an artist. He was a really, really well-rounded guy, and he was the outdoorsman of the time. So if you were a kid in the 30s or 40s, you knew who Frank Buck was, and Stevens marketed and used him to market a couple series of their rifles, of him in his, you know, pit hat and, you know, the khakis and everything. So, you know, it was a good ploy. But anyway, enough yapping. Let me start shooting here. As always with these 50-yard iron sight challenges that I'm doing with the vintage stuff, I will only use CCI standard velocity in it, and that camera's already going. So let's go ahead and give it a rip. It does have a detachable 5-round box magazine with the weak extractor. I'm just going to single feed them and pull them out of the way afterwards. But that's the difference between the Model 56 and I have a 55 that's the same rifle, but the 55 is a single feed, no detachable magazine. If I would have realized before I came out here today that the extractor was this weak on it, I would have swapped the bolts out, because the bolts are completely interchangeable. The difference between the 55 and the 56 is that the 55 is a single feed, single shot, and it is much rarer. There are only about 3,500 of those believed to have been built, and the example that I have is just really nasty, so I wanted to bring a nicer looking rifle out. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this going. 12 o'clock, and the looks like it breaks the line on the 7 ring. Looks like it's breaking the line on the 8 ring at 9 o'clock. In the 8 ring at 3 o'clock. This front sight post covers that target at 50 yards completely. So if this is my target, this is, you know, what I'm looking at. So I am holding just below it, and that's why I'm chasing it right now. Another one in that 8 ring out at 3 o'clock. Another one in that same area. Try adjusting my point of aim a little bit, see if I can't bring it in a little closer to the middle. That did it. That brought it into the 9 ring at about 11 o'clock. Looks like I think I'm back over there in the 3 o'clock side of things. This rifle has something also that's really quite interesting or neat, and I'll do a close-up and insert that into the video here of it, and that is the way in which the safety on this operates. A lot of these early Stevens, people don't even know that some of them have safeties built into them, because everybody's used to, you know, a little bit later they started doing the thumb safety here. But this has a cocking mechanism safety that you can pull back on the cocking mechanism, and then when you spin it, this extra bar comes out of a slot, comes around, and then it comes up against the back of the receiver, and it prevents the firing pin from going home. They can be good and it can be bad, because if your sear is at all worn on it, you go to slide this back and you let it go, it could send the bolt home too. So, but it's just an interesting little tidbit about the rifle as well. Yeah, I think I'm still over there at 3 o'clock. Oh, I pulled that one all the way off to the other side because I held too much. All right, well, that was 10. And you know what? That's a pretty respectable looking target for, you know, your basic utility, you know, boys rifle made in the 30s. So I will score it up and share it with you all later. Hope you enjoy this. And if you do like these videos of me shooting the, you know, old Stevens rifles from my collection, that's all I collect are Stevens products, so as far as vintage goes. But if you like this type of stuff, let me know in the comments and I'll keep doing it. I got enough to do a different rifle every week all the way into next year. So as always, y'all have a great day, and we will see you at the range. Okay, so here's a target I just shot using the Stevens Model 56, and everything is in the 6 or higher ring, so that's the only 6. These ones break, so that's going to be, 4 dropped, plus 3 is a total of 10 dropped up to here. That breaks the line into the 8, so that's 2, that's 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and a 9 for 23 dropped. So 23 dropped. It gives me a score of 77 on this target. And again, 77 out of 100 on that rifle. Not complaining at all.